more than 1/3 of first-time mothers in Ireland give birth by Caesarean section, and we really don't understand all the reasons. My doctoral research project explored perspectives of the key stakeholders, and the aim of this video is to share findings from my research on views of midwives and obstetricians on the factors that influence decision-making for Caesarean section for first-time mothers and women's views of their involvement in the process.
We know that women who are aged over 40, have obesity or have had treatment for infertility are more likely to have a Caesarean section. But there are also other factors that drive decision-making. These include the personal attitudes of healthcare professionals and their aim to reduce adverse outcomes.
I interviewed 35 clinicians, and here is what they told me.
I think our society has become more litigious. So definitely one of the reasons why the rate of Caesarean section is going overboard is the fear of litigation.
There is variation in the threshold to intervene. Then there are clinicians who are better at thinking from an etiological perspective. And if your threshold is to intervene, you may make a decision to do a Caesarean section very quickly.
With primogravidal, the most obvious reason for an emergency Caesarean is the failed induction.
One of the greatest challenges in modern obstetrics is induction of labour and the significant Caesarean section rate in primogravids who have their labour induced.
If you have a standard policy for all women, and if everyone sticks to that policy, then actually the outcomes are better for everyone.
A clinician's beliefs and their practice within the system of a clinical setting has a major influence on their decision-making. Whether or not a woman's care is individualised or standardised is dependent on the practice within the culture of the institution.
In a broader context, even when birth doesn't go as planned, and regardless of the type of birth, women describe a positive experience when they feel involved in the decision-making for their birth. And this feeling of self-satisfaction is important for their current and their future births.
I talked to 20 first-time mothers who had Caesarean section for their first birth, and here is what the woman told me.
I don't think I was involved in the decision-making process. I was following medical advice and taking the advice of professionals.
It was really tough to end up with it. I didn't even think it was an option until the first one failed.
So the key question is, how can Ireland become one of the countries with the best childbirth outcomes for women and babies? So it is time to think about the next actions to find ways to avoid any Caesarean sections that are avoidable, inappropriate, or unnecessary. And a deep insight into the complex factors will help us achieve this goal.